Okay, this is from yesterday, Sunday, May 21st. And this is in response to Katie Halper's tweet where she says, historian Aaron Good and journalist Michael Tracy debate JFK and RFK Jr. 2024. Are they anti-war, or is that a grandiose reinterpretation of the Kennedy dynasty? And now I was responding to her earlier release of a part of their debate where they talk about the Kennedy assassination, the John Kennedy assassination specifically, where it's a debate about whether JFK was, had a protect the peace, withdraw from direct large-scale U.S. military involvement in Vietnam. And so that's what this is in response to. Okay, quote, all of this huffing and puffing over a totally settled point for all honest historical commentators on JFK's, quote, keep the peace, unquote, Vietnam War, de-escalation intent and initial moves, with no mention of the even deeper means, motive, and opportunity in the assassinations and cover-ups of both the JFK and RFK murders, pointing to the Zionist deep state network as central. Does anyone really think that it is just a coincidence that Oliver Stone had its big JFK conspiracy film waving its fictional hand at a dark, smoky room full of a largely nameless CIA and Pentagon cabal, executively produced by key Israeli LEKEM Military Intelligence nuclear espionage operative Arnan Milchan? Sounds similar to years of ongoing left liberal, quote-unquote progressively Zionist controlled debate about the Iraq War. Was it Bush's big oil loyalties or Cheney's MIC-Halliburton interests, or the genetic predetermination to make morally and strategically horrific foreign policy, quote-unquote blunders by the U.S. empire in total? All with no mention that the consensus of the entirety of the Israel lobby, with Netanyahu as an Israeli shock troop cudgeling Congress, and the PNAC and clean break white papers laying out the post 9/11 war, quote-unquote, strategy, operated as the central political power component of the 2003 Iraq invasion, all while the substantial Jewish American body political majority was firmly against it. This is also blatant with the assassination of RFK, parenthetically begging the ongoing question of the until now public silence of Robert Kennedy Jr. on this part of the matter. With an obviously mind-controlled automatic writing Palestinian patsy, unassailable forensics and eyewitnesses pointing to a shooter from behind RFK's ear, and the wide swath of Zionist comment on the matter from day one, framing it as an act of Arab terror, the first major act of modern Palestinian terrorism in the U.S., and a logical precursor to 9/11, all under close narrative management by and geologistics of Zionist oligarchs, Israeli arming mobsters, and ADL B'nai B'rith operatives. This is like a 2023 version of Mark Lane versus Gerald Posner, with Barbara Walters, quote-unquote, mediating. If there is a whiff of deep Zionist state action, mum's the apparent word. Way to manufacture dissent and debate well within the maintained parameters of quote-unquote civil debate. Epstein's buddy, about which we apparently have no legitimate public interest to know about, by the way, MIT, MIC, anti-BDS boy Chomsky would be proud. Why don't you do some seriously delving debates and discussions on these even more serious matters? Ever more serious matters. I was saying that these matters unspoken of get more and more serious over time.
Without a doubt. And it's interesting that these cover-ups, I think the bigger, we talk about like where a lot of people are lacking, is there's a common Achilles heel around these varying flows of information and circles of activism, politics, etc., around politics, as we call it. And this is an example of where both, I think, the overtly maybe more Russia, China, foreign access friendly media, and then the types of like still representing to some level or another some type of quote unquote American interests are all lacking on. They all benefit from these limits being put around the scope and narrative of these respective matters.